Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the HerStory Online Summit. This is Gertrude Macha here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia, and we are back again with an amazing lineup of speakers. The HerStory Online Summit runs for 11 days every single month, and we bring you women who talk about business and entrepreneurship, health and wellness, family and relationships, creativity, social justice, and spirituality. So before we start, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. We pay our respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people today. I would also like to pay respect to all of my ancestors whose shoulders I stand on as I do this work as a social impact serial social entrepreneur. So our vision with HerStory is to impact as many women and children across the globe as possible. We raise money for social impact by curating these stories into a series of books, magazines. We have a podcast. So please go onto our website, theherstorycircle.com, contribute, donate if you like, step up and come and speak and be a part of this amazing movement. So we're going to start every single summit with this beautiful song that was sung by a group of women who started a movement to bring women together and try and bring an end to all these wars that are devastating our world. So thank you for sharing this song. Thank you for allowing us to sing it with you wherever we are in the world. So here we go.
This is a call to all our sisters, the women of the world, to take part in the creation of a new video clip. War is not a woman's game. For too many years, we have been collaborating with the patriarchal narrative, believing that armies and bombs keep us safe. For too long, we have been stripped of our liberty by the story of separation. This is not our language. It is not our way. War is not a woman's game. It is time for the givers of life to protect it. Women of Ukraine, you are not alone. Women of Russia, you are not alone. Women of Palestine, you are not alone. Women of Syria, you are not alone. Women of Israel, USA, Africa, India, Asia, Europe, Australia, North America, South America, North Korea, South Korea, China, Tibet, Afghanistan. You are not alone. Girls, young women, old women, witches, businesswomen, caretakers, fairies,
That is a beautiful beginning to our morning, Terry.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
So we are on day 9 of our online summit. For those of you who haven't been with us the last 8 days, we have 2 more days to go. This is an 11-day event. So we want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy these amazing stories of these women who are coming to us from all over the world. So we've got our first speaker, Terry. Do you want to read her bio while I line up the video?
Okay. In 2012, Megan Rose received a BS in marketing, management, and business development from Southern New Hampshire University, and then booked herself a one-way ticket to Los Angeles just weeks later, feeling called to start studying alternative healing and energy. Work in Southern California. She left all she knew in order to unveil her truth. Megan's work is rooted in authenticity, acceptance, and self-love, bringing her clients a deep sense of alignment each time they work with her. Megan is currently based in Los Angeles, but offers distance sessions and healings to those who are not located in LA. She says, let's work together. I introduce to you Megan Rose.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
So my story started off in rural New Hampshire, so New England, the northeast of the United States. I grew up originally in a town with less than 1,000 people as the population, and ended up putting myself through traditional schooling systems, growing up with a traditionally Catholic practicing family. And I think I was probably the last person to expect that my story would end up where it is now, let alone my family and the people that grew up with me. So different from where I started, but I ended up moving out to Los Angeles just 2 months after my degree was done. So I went to school for marketing management and small business development, and ended up working in finance throughout the time that I was in school full time. So I was working full time, going to school full time, and it ended up leading me on a one-way ticket to LA 2 months after my degree was done. And I continued on with a pretty normalized career in finance, ending up with a 6-figure job at 23 years old in private investments. And at that point, I had been in finance for around 7 years total. And I remember getting in my car one day, seeing the GPS tell me that it was going to take 2 hours and 5 minutes to get back to my apartment in traditional LA fashion. And I actually utilized that time sitting in standstill traffic to write my resignation letter. I had no idea where I was going, no idea what I was going to pursue, but I did take that time to connect with myself and, tapped in with Reiki energy healing, ended up getting gifted a tarot deck by my partner at the time, and working with a mentor to start to learn how to read tarot cards, and walked down the street from my apartment at that time to a meditation studio. And I remember walking in, telling them, it doesn't matter what I'm doing as long as I'm in here working. And they were thrilled with that. Of course, who doesn't want someone that's hungry to work in your space? And I ended up working for minimum wage and hadn't made that little money since high school. So it was a huge ego blow, so many different things coming up, financial triggers, identity triggers. Who am I? What am I doing? How am I going to survive, from the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy, just trying to get my basic needs met at that point, living in one of the largest metropolitan cities on the world. So just, 2 weeks in, we had a shift in management, and I ended up taking the studio manager role. So after that point, had been studying tarot, had already gotten all of my certifications in Reiki energy healing, and with the world works when you listen to your gut. We had our Reiki teacher not show up for her fully booked class. And I remember calling the owner of the studio, and she was like, "We need you to jump in." So that day I led my first meditation class, and it just continued to move in that momentum and in that direction. Not even a full year and a half later, I was at the point in the space with the clientele that I had. I had been reading for family and friends. They told me, "You need to start charging for these tarot readings," and got my own clientele, my own roster of people that were not only connected, but very happy with the services that they were getting, and convinced me to start doing this full time. So my last day at the meditation studio was Valentine's Day of 2020. And I'm sure as many people will know where this is going, the city of Los Angeles happened to shut down just 2 weeks later. I remember calling my mom at that point and being like, "Is my childhood bedroom still open? I'm probably going to end up coming back home." And she, being the lovely, supportive person that she is, was like, "Carry through, you know what to do." So the world shut down, really. And I transitioned all of my work online, leading workshops, classes, taking all of my clients virtually. And it not only survived, but it started thriving. And I look at where I'm at now to where I began. And I think my story is the perfect example for the clients that I work with now, to let them know it does not matter where you are. If you want to end up somewhere else, you can make it happen.
That is absolutely inspiring, Megan. Absolutely wonderful. Now, you were able to pivot at a very, very, very difficult time. I want to take you back a few steps. What made you decide to quit your job? What had actually happened for you to do that just impromptu? Because a lot of women hold on to jobs because they need them, they're scared, the fear of, what am I going to do next? What if it fails? What was it that made you make that decision and leave?
For me, it wasn't a matter of whether this was the financially sound decision. It wasn't, is this the smart thing for me to do? But being someone who had grown up in discomfort, someone who had grown up without money or feeling a level of inclusion, whether that was in my family dynamic or with friends, not really feeling a sense of community as I was growing up, I was comfortable with discomfort from the get-go, which is why I always tell people, your story doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fully prepared before you make big jumps. You can actually get a lot of that influence to make uncomfortable decisions because of the discomfort that you've already experienced. So I preface that just letting people know I didn't grow up with money. I didn't grow up with healthy community support. So a lot of my reliance in life came from myself already at that point. So when I was in this job, feeling completely misaligned with what I was doing, the work that I was doing, the type of lifestyle that I was living, working 10-hour shifts with an hour commute in, and as I mentioned earlier, sometimes upward of 2-hour commutes back home. I just went home that day and realized I'm spending more than 50% of my life right now doing something that I don't feel passionately about. So the decision came from wanting to prioritize my happiness and my passion before my financial stability and security. And at that point, it was a true dedication to the vision that I saw of myself living in alignment, living happy, and living with passion and purpose that drove me. And I definitely accredit some of that jump to the use of credit cards as well. So for the time being, after that jump happened pretty immediately, it was very financially unstable. I won't sugarcoat it. I was not living lavishly for at least a couple of years before this really took off.
I love the fact that you just had the faith that this was going to work out. It's almost like jumping off a cliff without a parachute and knowing you'll grow your wings on the way down, right?
Absolutely. I could not have said it better.
And then just hustling, using your credit cards to keep you going until that cash flow came in. So if you could have a conversation with the younger you and give her 3 nuggets of wisdom based on what life has taught you up to this point, what would you say to her? So that if there's another young person who's listening to this interview, your story becomes a bit of light at the end of the tunnel for them.
I would let that younger version of myself know that when the emotions are high and the overwhelm feels unbearable, that it's temporary, that the feelings that you have right now are not going to dictate where you end up. So to start to look at the thoughts and emotions that pass through us as just that, passerbys, start to observe them and understand that when you feel scared, it doesn't mean that you're on the wrong path. Really, some of the most monumental pivots that have happened in my life came from moments where I was extremely scared and overwhelmed, but it was coupled with a feeling of excitement. So those moments where you feel fear and excitement at the same time, go for those. I would also say to my younger self that your opinion of yourself is not only the most important opinion, but it's the only opinion that matters. So even if your friends, your closest friends, your family, your partner, your colleagues doubt you and your dreams, don't give up on yourself. Your belief and your faith is the most important thing that will keep you going. And lastly, I would say that no one here knows what they're doing. We look out all of the time for comparison to see what other people are doing, how other people got successful, what makes other people happy, who has the best body, clothes, cars, hair, makeup, partner or partnership. And none of that can tell you what is right for you more than your inner voice can. So to always come back to what's a yes for you and a no for you, rather than what's a yes and a no, right or wrong for other people.
You've touched on 2 really important things in that answer. Our emotions come and go. That self-doubt, that can I really do it, the imposter syndrome feelings, they come and go, and you just have to allow them to be until they pass through you, right? I was reading a book the other day that said that your emotions are like your children. When they come, you shouldn't push them away, because the more you push them away, the more they want your attention. So that's one thing that you really touched on that makes sense to me. But the other thing you've touched on is your intuition. Now, women are very intuitive by nature, but a lot of women don't know how to trust their intuition. I describe intuition like a muscle, that the more you use it, the stronger it gets, and the stronger it gets, the more you use it. So how do you feel your intuition talking to you? For me, it's a voice that comes in my head that says, go left, go right. What does that feel like for you?
So Gertrude, mine is very similar to yours, where I will hear that voice. A very recent example of this, and I want to share this only because when people think of intuition, they think it always has to be really big, or it needs to be spiritually inclined. Like the messages that you get also have to be spiritual in nature. And like you said, your intuition is a muscle. So flexing it in the small moments is kind of like doing a low impact workout, doing Pilates, doing something that doesn't require you to break a sweat, but it still builds these tiny muscles. So the example that happened to me recently, I went out on, we'll call it a Monday, and wore brown boots and a floral dress. And I realized at that time when I was trying to pair certain things together to make an outfit that I didn't have any brown purses. So the next day, I go to a doctor's appointment that I had in the morning. And I remember leaving and driving up a street that I hadn't been to, and it ended up leading me to a thrift shop that I love, but I had never come from that direction. So that's the first part of this intuitive kind of journey. Then I get in there and I go over to the section that has purses and heard this voice that said, wait for the right one, don't settle, and you will be pleasantly surprised. Absolute insanity. Like, so clear when it came through. So I didn't love any of the purses in that section, got up to the register, was a little bit disappointed only because that was really the only thing that I wanted or needed. And as I'm standing checking out, I see on the end cap of the men's jeans a brown purse. So I asked the cashier to wait before he checked me out, and I go over, and it's not only a purse for $19, but it's a Prada purse. And I couldn't believe it. You know, these things that happen to us where our expectations are exceeded, right? Like, it's not only financially feasible for me to now have this designer bag, but I listened to all of these different voices that came into my head. So I tell stories like this, not only to you and your community, but to my clients as well, because I think it's important for women, especially, to understand that our inherent gift of intuition has been silenced. It's been shushed for so long, especially in this very patriarchal society that we live in, where intuition hasn't had a seat at the table for a very long time. It's been discredited and illegitimized for so many years. And my belief in that is because there truly is a superpower behind it. There is something completely irrational and indescribable within the power of female intuition that is really capable of taking over. If we listen to our inner voice in the small moments, when we get to those big moments, it feels so much more accessible. So if you can listen to find the bag, you'll be way more open to the moments where it's time to shift your career or make some other big life-changing decision when that inner voice comes in.
Oh my gosh. I just got goosebumps. So I'm from Africa. I'm from Zimbabwe. It's probably one of the poorest countries in Southern Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up poor in a village with no electricity, no running water. Love designer outfits, handbags, but I never buy anything new. And like you, I go into these thrift shops and I am guided to some of the most exquisite clothes and handbags. And people who see me think I spend a lot of money on clothing. I don't buy anything over $50. And I'm like you, that voice guides you. And you're right. You do it like an experiment. And then you start hearing it, and it's like a whisper in the beginning, and then it gets louder and stronger. Sometimes for me, when I meet people, it's a feeling I have around someone. They either energize me or they drain my energy.
Yes.
And if they energize me, I know I'm supposed to connect with them. And then magical things happen. And we look back 3-5 years later on how we met, and the magic has happened. So you've touched on so many things with just that one answer. I'm just so excited to have met you, because you can have everything you want in life.
Yes.
And there is something in this universe. I'm not religious. I consider myself as being very spiritual. And the only way I can describe my life is that I have had a spirit-led life.
Ooh, that's so powerful.
And spirit is working on a minute by minute, day by day basis for me. And women need to know that, and they need to tune into that to create extraordinary lives with very little. So I think the advantage that you and I both have is that we grew up not having.
Mm-hmm.
For women who are born in privilege, where they have access to everything, I think that intuitive sense gets, like you said, suppressed in some way. I have had to hustle my whole life. I have a radar for business like you cannot believe. You could throw me in the middle of the desert and I will find something entrepreneurial to help me survive.
Yes.
So you're working with a lot of wealthy clients in the US. I've been cyber stalking you. I read your bio. You've got some real A-lister type of people that you help.
Yeah.
What is your advice to a woman who has never not had anything? How do you help them navigate this space?
So I think Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes said it the best in her book, Women Who Run with Wolves. So talks a lot about feminine archetypes and mythology so women can better understand their path. And I apply this to women who have been born with a lot of money, those who have been born without, those who have been born with inherent beauty by society standard, and those without. It's the entire spectrum of the feminine reality. And I'll say the same to both people, which is we have these opportunities to go through initiations. And when you are faced with difficulty, you have more of those opportunities because it's a complete and total breakdown of your subconscious and your feeling or sense of safety. So you use those opportunities like crossroads, where you either have the opportunity to fall victim to what is happening to you, or you have the opportunity to use what is happening to you as a catalyst to move you in the direction that you want to go. So it really all depends on your willingness to see life in that way. And my work is really here to heal the subconscious. So the parts of the mind that are keeping you back from living a fulfilled, aligned, thriving life. I myself in my own journey have been, I used to say, a victim of multiple types of abuse, but now looking at the life that I live and how happy and aligned that I am after the fact, those things did not hold me victim. I feel victorious. I'm a victor to the things that I have been through. I look at my clients, men and women alike, but really hone this in for my female clients, regardless of where they started, where they are now, and where they want to go. And let them know every opportunity you have in life to grow is being handed to you. And it may not look the same way. It may not be handed to you on a shiny silver platter with a gold bow on top of it. It might look a lot like a breakdown that ends up turning into a breakthrough if you allow it to. So it's just letting yourself look at life and its difficulties and its challenges as opportunities and initiations. So much easier said than done. And I don't want to take away from people that are oppressed by society, because going through different levels and layers of oppression and abuse are never required for you to get to where you're trying to go. But it is looking at life and holding on to those moments where you are in control of your destiny and you can see how the universe is co-collaborating with you always, and saying, I'm ready. I'm ready for the initiation and the challenge that you're giving me to bring me where I'm trying to go.
Beautiful way to end our interview. Megan, thank you so much. You bring so much into this world. How can people get hold of you? Which is the best website?
So my website is themeganrose.com, and you can find me on all social platforms at the_Megan Rose.
Okay, so I have your website scrolling at the bottom of the video at the moment. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today. The HerStory movement is attracting some of the most phenomenal women on the planet. I feel really honored to have met you, Megan, because you confirmed for me a lot of knowings that sometimes feel I'm a little bit crazy, but when I meet someone like you, I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy.
There's someone crazier. I'm here.
So thank you for coming into my life this morning. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Come back again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. Megan, don't go away. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Back tomorrow. Bye for now. Okay. What a beautiful start to our day, Terry.
It's wonderful. As you are aware, I am definitely spiritual, and things happen for a reason, and we can't understand it. But you just go with it. You go with it. It always turns out right. You have to listen to your soul.
And everything she said, right, makes so much sense for me. So I started again experimenting and playing with this last week. There is a house that I want to buy 3 streets away from my daughter's house. And I kept envisaging, living in this house, my little grandson being able to get on his bicycle and come and see grandma. I've been dreaming about buying a house near where my daughter lives. I saw it almost 6 months ago, and it's still on the market. It hasn't been sold. And I don't have the money to buy this house, Terry, but I know when I put my mind on something, I'll manifest the money. So what I did is I went and saw the real estate agent just before I came to the US to meet you. And I said to him, look, would the owner be willing to take a deposit and give me 6 months to raise the money that I need so I can qualify for a mortgage? And he said, well, I can only put it to the owner and see what happens, but he may or may not want that. I didn't hear from him. And then the day that I was coming to the US, they said they had an offer for the house. So I thought, oh, okay, I've missed out on that. It's gone. Anyway, I came back, going to visit my daughter on Friday. I thought I'll just drive past the house and see if there's a for sale sign. There isn't a for sale sign. It's still on sale, right? And so I sent a text message to the real estate agent saying, hey, this is Gertrude. I'm back. What's happened with the house? Didn't the sale go through? Please get in touch with me. I want to put down an offer. I heard nothing. Then on Sunday, after our summit, and we're sitting here for 4 hours doing this, I was thinking to myself, I just need to get up. I need to go for a walk before I lie down and have my granny nap. And this voice in my head, I was really tired, but the voice said, go for a walk. And I listened to it. And I thought, wow, one incentive to get out of the house is go and check on my house and see if it's still there. So I go past the house and there's a young man mowing the lawn. It's on Sunday morning. So I stopped and I said to him, hi, how are you? I've been trying to buy this house and the real estate agent is not calling me back. Do you know who owns the house? He says, I do. I inherited this house from my aunt when she died, and she left it in my name and my brother's name. So we're trying to sell it. It's been really hard. The market is slow. And I showed him all the messages I've been sending the real estate agent. And I said to him, look, I don't have money. I'm not going to lie to you that I have the money right now, but I do have some savings. Would you take $50,000 as a deposit and give me 6 months to get myself, sorted? I know I'll qualify for a mortgage in 6 months' time. This young man says to me, well, let me think about it. And then he said, so did you see the house? I said, I've come 3 times. I've actually come and looked 3 times. And I have this vision to turn the big shed at the back into an art studio, so I can do my art there. I can see myself installing a lap pool. I was just telling him all of these dreams that I have. And he said, "Did you get to see the inside the shed?" I said, "No, I didn't." He said, "Oh, come on in, I'll show you again." So we clicked, Terry. There was just an instant rapport. And he said, "I would rather sell this house to somebody nice, because my aunt was such a nice person and giving us this house was such a gift for me and my brother. I really wanted to go to a nice person." Anyway, he sent me a text message yesterday saying, "Hey, let's get together. Let's put something down on paper." So I might just be buying my first home, Terry.
Great. Oh, I'm so
So,
happy for you. Yeah.
so
Sometimes
it's those little whispers, right?
and you have to listen,
Yeah.
Sometimes we listen to the bad things
Yes.
and we don't
Yes.
listen to the good things because we think it'll never happen. Okay.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, that's so
Exactly.
far out. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, And sometimes we
Oh,
just have to, just like Megan Rose says, just, hey, go with it. Go
yeah.
with it.
And just trust. We have
Yeah.
to trust.
Yeah.
When you have that feeling. So everything I'm doing makes no sense. My kids are like, "Mom, what are you doing? How can you put in an offer for a house and you don't have the money?" I'm like, I've done this before. I've created things out of nothing before.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
know I can do it again.
Yes.
So that's my story for this morning. And this young woman just really reminded me of the power that we have
Yes.
when you are in line and you are tuned in. It's about tuning into the universe, God, creator, whatever you call this
Whatever you call
magical
them.
thing that
Yeah.
brings this universe together. So we have a comment on Facebook from Dorothy. Dorothy, it's wonderful to see you there. Dorothy is based in the UK. Awesome to see you, Dorothy. We are planning some events for the UK before the end of the year, by the look of it. So hopefully I will get to meet you in person very, very soon. So Terry, let's go on to our next speaker.
Okay, and that would be Jackie Leipan.
Let's start with Jackie Leipan, yes. I'll line
Okay.
up the video while we read that out.
Okay. Jackie's passion is helping authors and speakers get access to the right venues and contacts to share their message with the world. That is why she created Speaker Opportunity Cities, a directory of listings by cities across North America. As a nationally recognized media relations expert with over 35 years' experience, a best-selling award-winning author in personal growth and award-winning sports writing journalist, Jackie knows how challenging it can be for an author to speak to reach their audience. Our services range from the do-it-yourself model of finding speaking engagements to the done-for-you full service for those who want us to do the heavy lifting. Jackie's goal is helping clients get their message in front of their ideal audience. I introduce to you Jackie Leipan.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
I started out as a lonely child, ostracized by my peers because I and my family were culturally, politically, and spiritually different from the other families in the community. For me, love of sports and love of writing were my two twin passions, something that gave me a sense of accomplishment and joy in the face of total rejection. At 11, I had an epiphany. If I could marry these two passions, I could become a sports writer at a time where there were no women sports writers. I imagined that I could be one. And with that vision in mind and a passion to learn to write journalistic prose, I worked day and night to climb the ladder. And despite constant ridicule and dismission by my peers, especially the boys, and skepticism by adults, with the exception of my parents, I persevered. And by 22, I had been at the Detroit Free Press, Associated Press, on the front pages of the Los Angeles Times, and at the Washington Post. I went on to have one of the largest sports and special events public relations agencies in America, with a world-class client list, while others still scoffed that I would never succeed. So I urge you to never give up your dreams. Stay the course, follow your heart, and ignore what others say, think, or do. You are the only one that counts when it comes to choosing your path. I'm Jackie Leipan, and I am thrilled to be part of HerStory so that I can help guide you on ways to make your mission and message get the attention.
Be fab and colourful. My name's Pip Oxlade. I love inspiring women to step into their true power. I speak passionately.
Something's gone wrong there, Terry. Let me.
Yeah, I see that.
See. I picked up a video that is a combination of videos and not just Jackie's. So let me find the right video. My apologies for that, everybody. I think we might have edited some videos together for a commercial, and I grabbed the wrong video. So give me a second. Jackie Leipan, where are you? If not, I have it online. Yeah, I see the mistake I made there. My apologies for that. You're going to have to entertain us, Terry. Terry, how I look for this. You're going to have to start becoming a stand-up comic or something.
I know. It's getting to that point, but that's okay. That's okay. You do know that I am a certified laughter yoga instructor, so I do know how to laugh.
When things go wrong. Oh my gosh.
All righty.
That is interesting. What happened there? I think I found it. I'll just make sure that I have the right video this time.
Encourages me to really come forward.
All right, so I see the mistake that I made. That was just her introductory video that was edited together with a group of other videos. So this is the correct one. I'll line it up first, make sure I have the right one. Okay, I think we're in business. So I'll share the screen.
Hi, I'm Jackie Leipan, and I am so delighted to be here today as part of the HerStory Summit. I think Gertrude is one of the most powerful, incredible women in our entire world. She has done so much for women who want to tell their stories powerfully and to help
give folks a leg up in the world if they need a little bit of help in getting started or just improving their lives altogether. Gertrude, my hat's off to you, love. And she is an icon of women who are vulnerable and honest and willing to tell their stories. And she encourages me to really come forth with some of the reasons that I am making the difference that I am in the world. So my mission is to help leaders get on stages, whatever those stages might be, so that you can tell your story and you can help other people. But my story begins when I am just about 4 years old, and my father came home, and you can imagine hearing this. He says to my mom, "Honey, I have to tell you this. I have cancer, the same kind of cancer that killed my parents." Well, you could imagine what that did to a 4-year-old, to hear this tragic. At 4, I knew what cancer was. And I knew that people didn't always survive. Obviously, my grandparents were gone. So I was terrified. But the good news is my father survived. But the bad news again was that he was financially wiped out. Now, when that happened, he had no choice but to start over and wanted to move us to another part of the state just to get a new foothold in the world. And he did, but there was only one problem. This part of the state was very, very unwelcoming, let's just say. They didn't like outsiders. Have you ever felt that like yourself? Do you know what that experience is like? I'll bet you have.
And as a result, even the kids were like that. And they didn't want anything to do with me. My childhood was spent almost entirely alone. Whew. But as I grew up, I wanted something that made me feel visible, validated. I felt that I had no voice, that these children and their parents had silenced me, that I had no validation in the world. And so I was a Wild Dodger fan. I got that from my dad. And I loved writing. And listening to my intuitive sense, even way back as a child, I said, I'm going to put these two things together. And I am going to become a sports writer. Now, back when that happened, there were no women sports writers. And so I didn't listen to all the people who said, "You're kidding. She'll never succeed. She's a girl." I didn't listen to that. And you can imagine my whole peer group, they already thought that I was weird, that I was different. But I really put my heart and soul into it. And so I read the LA Times every single day to learn how to become a writer. And I geared myself in high school and college to do this. And so I believe that success is the best revenge. At 20, I was at the Detroit Free Press. At 21, I was on the front pages of the Los Angeles Times and at the Associated Press. At 22, I'd co-hosted the television show Dodger Dugout here in Los Angeles. And I went to the Washington Post. So you can imagine that was really extraordinary. I, in fact, even made national television because I was so early in the game and one of the few women who really was talented as a sports writer as young as I was. So that was really an exciting time and validation. So then the next part of my journey is I wanted to have a sports public relations agency. And you can bet what those other guys, and they were all guys, said about this female interloper into their business. Ha! She'll never make it. Well, within the next couple of years, I had a client list that was world-class. Avon, Seagram's, Showtime, the Ice Capades, the Harlem Globetrotters, the National Hockey League, the Golf Channel. And I can go on and on and on and on with companies and organizations and sports entities that we represented during that time. And we also became one of the 2 leading PR agencies in cable television as that was emerging in pay-per-view. Oh yeah, and I also was in boxing and poker, if you can imagine. I launched the worldwide poker phenomenon with the World Poker Tour. So my story is one of triumph, of coming through all of that, despite the naysayers. And when I got through all of that, I realized that my heart really lay with the people who were making the world a better place. I wrote 2 books in personal growth on my own and realized that these were my kin, the people who were using their books to improve people's lives or help the businesses, or they were in service to humanity somehow. And so I decided to really focus my world on that. And so for about 12 years, we've done radio podcast tours where we introduce authors and leaders to 9,000 radio shows and podcasts with a minimum guarantee of 30 interviews. And I'm proud to say that some of my clients are Don Miguel Ruiz, Ariel Ford, James Twyman, Joe Vitale, Chris and Janet Atwood, Maureen St. Germain, and people who really are the leaders in the personal growth space, the luminaries. But also, if you go to our website, you'd see 80 other testimonials. We've done this for about 300 people over the course of the last couple of years. But about 4 or 5 years ago, some folks said to me, "Can you book me for speaking gigs?" And we said, "No, we don't want to do that, but we know where they are." And so I created something called Speakertunity, the Speaker and Leader Resource Company. And that's where we provide leaders all the contacts so they don't have to do any of the research, so they can get booked on live and virtual stages, on podcasts, on radio shows, on virtual summits, on TEDx's, and lots more. And conferences, we've also got conferences now coming. So we've sorted them all, curated them for you. We've got 130,000 different listings in our regional directories. So people just want to learn and find out how to speak locally, or in their niche directories all across the world. So this became so important to me, to give people the opportunity and the tools and the resources to get on stages, because I want you to be able to deliver your messages in all the places that it counts, wherever you can come into contact with the people that are meaningful to you. So if you're not speaking, I want to tell you what the 10 reasons why speaking is so powerful and essential for leaders and entrepreneurs and coaches. This means that you really need to be thinking seriously about getting off the dime and going out and speak. And let me tell you why that it's really important for you to do this. And these are the 10 powerful reasons why. The first is that you want to grow your authority and the recognition factor for the work that you do in the world. You can grow your status so that not only it makes it more likely that people will book you, but that prospective clients will come to you because they know who you are. It increases your stature, your impact, and your attractability factor, your ability to attract clients for you. Now, that's the first one. It just really makes you a sought after expert in your marketplace. Now, the next one is that by speaking in a room with people, you create an intimacy, a kind of connection to them, a rapport that instills the know, like, and trust factor into the equation. This is where when people can see you, they are much more likely to want more from you, to buy from you, whether it's a book, whether it's a coaching program, whatever it is. Being in a virtual room or a live room with people really gives them a sense of knowing you, of feeling you, of having an emotion about who you are. And that builds the rapport for the relationship to follow. It increases your potential success rate. Most authors will know that the most successful strategies for them are being in a room with people who will buy their book. The same is true of pretty much anything else. The third thing that I really like about speaking is that it gives you anywhere from 30 to 90 minutes to reinforce the audience's pain points and that you have a solution for it. It gives you an opportunity to slowly grow the fact that, well, here's what you're suffering from, and here's how I can help you, by giving them some taste of what they can experience with you when they're in a more formalized relationship, by offering valued content up front without them having to pay for it. They begin to really get a sense that, wow, if I worked with this person, that I would have more even than what I'm getting here. It's a real powerful positioning and gateway to sales. So number 4, if you have a really powerful rags to riches story, some human interest, like I just told you my story and that we are all doing here on HerStory, if you have a powerful story of where you have come from and where you are now, so that you can show people the promised land, how to get there, that is really a valuable benefit to being on stages. By telling your story, people see themselves in you, and they're going to want more from you because they trust you, they feel you, they identify with you. So I really believe that it gives you the time to make them invest with you as well as you investing with them. So number 5. So many people who shy away from the stage do so because they're afraid that they're going to sound salesy. And the truth of the matter is that's not necessarily a way that anybody needs to actually bring themselves forth on stage. The truth of the matter is you can create an invitation, an offer, and invite people to see that you would help them to their next stage. Okay, so I've given you this little bit of information. Now, would it be helpful to go to here? Well, let me invite you to come along with me and I will help you there. So if you are doing it with the gentle, more feminine approach of invitation, this should not be an intimidation factor why you shouldn't get on stages. If you don't know how to do this yourself, there are wonderful teachers out there who can help you learn how to enroll from the stage as opposed to sell from the stage. When I talk about enroll, I'm also talking about getting people to opt into a free gift, not necessarily one that's paid, because some stages won't let you do that won't let you make a sales or offer presentation from the stage. They only will let you do a free gift. And if you do that free gift right, you're going to have lots and lots of people that come into your opt-in list. You start building the relationship, and then you can make the offer to them after they're in your community. So, number 6, speaking is a great way to test what will move an audience to action. You know, the nice thing about starting on local stages, smaller stages, organizations you're already associated with, is that you can see what's going to work. You know, your first presentation may not get a lot of response, but if you go home and tweak it and work it a little bit more and ask people what they thought, you're going to actually dial it in. And speaking gives you that opportunity to do that many times in a situation that is not necessarily do or die. You know, most people understand if you're honest and vulnerable and authentic with them, they'll understand if you're not a polished professional, that you're still just trying to make it work. And you'll get a lot of feedback from people to be able to see what works. Here's number 7. There are thousands and thousands of stages out there. Before the pandemic, they estimated there was 6,500 live stages a day in the US and Canada. Now, there are way more than that. They're well over 10,000, and they're live and they're virtual, and some of them are hybrid, so that you'll be in the room presenting to that group, but it's on live stream. And so people will be able to catch it up on live stream. So that's really a great benefit. But they are out there. There are so many different places and ways that you can speak: meetings, venues, associations, conferences, summits, numerous different ways. Why shouldn't it be you? People are looking for speakers with solutions. Why shouldn't it be you? You have an opportunity to serve your community. Stages are just waiting to be plucked. So I strongly encourage you to take a look at the reality of the gold mine that is waiting for you. Number 8. So speaking of speaking platforms, it's just as easy to deliver your presentation on a podcast or a summit, virtual summit, as it is to a live virtual meeting or a live meeting or a virtual meeting. And the good part about starting with summits and podcasts and radio shows, if you're intimidated by getting on stages, is that you can actually perfect what you're going to say on stage in question form. The same content divided by the host questions. If you give them questions so that they know what they're going to be asking and you know what they're going to be asking, allows you to practice what will be great on stage. I did over 100 interviews for my last book, and I'm telling you, I was 10 times better on stage after that because it was coming so naturally to me. I knew what I was going to say. I knew what the flow was going to be. And you never want to memorize your speech. You just want to memorize the outline so you can speak to each different section and portions of it as you follow along. So the next thing is, it's always nice when somebody pays you to get on stage. But the truth is there are fewer and fewer organizations that will do that. So don't hold out with this, I'm only going to speak if I get paid. It doesn't work like that in today's world because those stages are so limited, and they really are for the people that are much more experienced and have a track record. So, and the competition is really stiff for those. So you have to be at the top of your game. But with meetings, venues, and associations, the local kinds of opportunities are endless, and so are the virtual and live summits. And it really allows you to get your skill level up, build your sense of confidence when you actually get on a real stage. 9. That was 9, sorry. I'm off by 1. And so 10 is that one of the real benefits of speaking is that you're talking to one to many instead of just one person. If you are already burned out, tired, exhausted, and you are trying to figure out how to make more money, how to serve more people, speaking is an incredibly effective way to go, because you can get into a room of 30, 40, 100 people and pick up multiple clients instead of having to do the sales process one person at a time. Now, you can then take them into an individual coaching program. You can take them into a mastermind. You can take them into an e-course and maximize your time. But you're not losing all that time in one-on-one conversations, your sales conversations, offer conversations. They know what the offer is. They've expressed their interest. And then it's all a matter of either them coming online and taking advantage of it, or having a briefer discovery call in order for you to actually get them to say yes to working with you. So that's some of the 10 reasons that it's really, really valuable for you to look seriously at speaking. And of course, over here at Speakertunity, we would love to help support you, give you an idea of where the opportunities are for you personally. So I currently invite you to come on over to meet with me. And here's the really cool part. I'm going to be doing a workshop here with Gertrude in about a month called The Path to Total Visibility and Massive Impact. And I'm going to go through a lot of the different tools you need to get booked and all the ways that the things you need to know before you ever get to actually starting to pitch your bookers, and then where you're going to find the easy ways to get booked. So I really hope that this has been of value to you. And I'm so glad that you're here as part of this summit. And I want to thank Gertrude for giving me the opportunity to do this and to share this with you. And I know that here I am on the closing day. So hopefully we saved a little bit of the best for last. So it was so wonderful to see you, and feel free. I am always here to help you find your voice.
That was the beautiful Jackie Leipan. Now, for those of you who are out there who are looking for speaking opportunities, she has an incredible database. She has a database for all of the TED Talks in North America and Canada, over 500 events. So if you're somebody who's wanting to do a TED Talk, just go onto speakertunity.com and buy that database. And if you're in the US, you can literally put in your zip code, and her company puts together databases of speaking opportunities in any location around the United States as well. Incredible human being. What did you think of Jackie's presentation, Terry?
I was busy writing notes, not realizing that I could go back and look at it on live. But I was busy writing notes, and so true. I think I told you earlier today, while I was on my little golfing trip this past weekend, that no matter who I rode with on the course, I was pitching, Crossroads podcast. Okay. I was also pitching my book soon to come. Okay. And also Sacred Promise as well. I mean, I was just like telling my whole story out there to whoever would listen. And I held a captive audience on the cart, on the golf cart. So, yeah. So, and I did that with each and every
thing, right? You just don't know who's going to.
Yeah.
You just don't know who's going to help you go the next step.
Right. So, yeah. So, with my other golf league, we have our closing luncheon next week, and they've already asked me to bring my Sacred Promise book. So I said, yeah, and I have a little presentation and all that ready, you guys. And to get ready. And some says, well, maybe
I love it.
So I'm just out there wherever I am.
Absolutely wonderful. We have to grab these opportunities and these chances when they come.
Yeah, we do.
It is the only way.
Yeah, the lead in was like, okay, this is a brand new group that I'm playing with. And she's like asking questions about, well, where did you work? Well, I was retired for the third time, but, and I just went on. She'd get out, she'd hit, and then she'd say, okay, finish. So we had fun. I had fun doing that.
Oh, I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so then she told somebody
this
else.
Is wonderful.
I saw them today, and they said, you didn't tell me your story. And I said, okay, I'll get you next week. Maybe we'll play together next week, or we can do it at lunch.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? You're golfing, you're walking, you're talking. You might as well make use of that time and let it yield some results for you.
Right.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
so we have one speaker who might join us live today. I'm just checking with her on Facebook. She tried to come online yesterday, but struggled with the I think she's on the East Coast. There was a storm, And every time she tried to get on StreamYard, it would kick her out.
Yes, there's
So we'll go on to our next speaker while we
yeah,
wait for her to respond.
yeah. Out
Who would
east,
you like me to line up next, Terry?
Tanya Sophie.
Okay.
Sophie. I'll
I'll
call her
let you read
Tanya.
her bio while I line up her video.
Okay. Yes, there is a major storm southeast Florida and Tampa and all over the place. So down there, it is that season. Okay. After many years in amazing global corporations, Tanya made a decision to integrate all
So before you
aspects.
read that, let's just share. Terry?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
We have a slight delay today. Have you noticed?
Do we?
Our connection is not as good as it normally is.
Mine is doing
Yeah,
pretty
I
good
think
on
it
this.
might be my Wi-Fi that's playing up.
Yeah, I finally got mine straightened out.
I think it's on my side this time. All right, go ahead and read the bio while I line up the video.
Okay. Yeah, it was playing okay with the last one. Alrighty, so let's see.
Okay.
I'm going to start over. After many years in amazing global corporations, I have made a decision to integrate all aspects of myself into my work. This means using the professional expertise that she has built as a seasoned C-suite executive, as well as my passions for writing, laughing, and building a better world. I strive to help create healthy human beings who are resilient, happy, and interested in achieving their potential and dreams. As a business executive, I also have a deep passion and interest in creating healthy organizations that outperform their competition because they have cracked the code, not only with their products and processes, but also through their collective mindsets, values, and attitudes. Helping organizations expand their awareness so that they can continually change, grow, and respond gets me out of bed with a spring in my step. I can relate to that. Okay, I'd introduce you to Tanya.
Okay, here we go.
Thanks, Gertrude. I'm Tanya Southey. I'm 51 and I live in Melbourne, Australia. But I was born on African soil in South Africa and grew up through the apartheid years, which actually shaped me in some very interesting ways. And I think, you know, as you said, Gertrude, Africa kind of builds a certain resilience that you just, it's in the grit of the soil there. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, you can't deny what Africa does. It's in our blood, right? And it's the best thing that ever happened to me. It made me tenacious, feisty. Yep. You just don't give up, because giving up is not an option there.
No, exactly. I was thinking, you know, there's no social welfare, there's nothing. So from an early age, you just sort of, you know, older people look in your eyes and go, you better work, you better just get on with it or you're going to die.
And you will too. Literally. So, gosh, you've had an amazing life. You've worked in the corporate world. I want you to touch a little bit about that, but more so the living legacy you're trying to create going forwards.
Yeah, so I spent 25 years in corporate and a lot in senior executive roles for General Electric, for Jetstar, part of Qantas, and for Carlton United Breweries. And I created a life that I didn't expect, coming from a small mining town, you know, in the middle of Africa. I didn't even think I'd leave the little village. And, you know, I wasn't a privileged person growing up. My father was quite poor, and he pushed us to study and put me through private school. And I remember at the time really almost hating it, because all my friends were, you know, they lived in better houses, their parents drove better cars, and I used to feel like really grumpy about things. But I think that work ethic and sort of seeing how he worked sort of drove in me, how do I make other people's lives better? And being in HR, for all the companies that I worked in, of course, I often had to make hard decisions about people's careers, but I also wanted to build people's careers.
Okay.
And kind of, especially women, I've got a passion around building women, because I really believe that when women are empowered, they educate their children, they bring up children. And, you know, as women, I think we tend to kind of put ourselves last.
Yes.
And we have to learn to put ourselves first so that we can actually serve everyone that we love, because you can't serve from an empty tank. And so I was very fortunate in my last role to have worked on a massive $106 billion integration, selling our business that I was in at the time. And I've now taken a sabbatical, and I'm really looking to create a life I don't need to take a vacation from.
Oh, I like that.
That's my goal, that I really work hard, but at no point do I go, oh my God, I'm looking so forward to that holiday because I'm just so sick of this. You know? Yeah, so I want to be doing work that I love with people that are growing. And so how that's shaping up for me in the last sort of 18 months is I've written a children's book, which my daughter illustrated. So it was a collaboration between the two of us, and that's doing really well, actually. So that's out. And I've been working with coaching women and working with CEOs on how to shift their culture and how to get the best out of their people, but also at the same time how to grow their businesses organically, because there's no point you know, telling people, oh, be nice to your people, but the business profits aren't there. CEOs don't listen to that. So how do you do both? And I've really been enjoying that. So that's kind of a potted history.
Oh, fantastic. So which kind of women are you trying to reach? I mean, I have a wide range of women who are listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
Who's your target market?
So two particular women, the younger women who potentially are trying to break through into more senior roles and are really battling with juggling small children and a career. And, you know, I've been there. I know how hard that is.
Yeah.
So really working with them on how do you show up in a way that is more, that people take you more seriously, that they actually see your potential. And then also with senior women who are, you know, just trying to take their career to the next level.
Fantastic. Oh, wow. I can't wait to see what you will create going forwards. This sounds like a fascinating enterprise. And I do like the idea of creating for yourself a job that's not really a job. I think I've successfully done that with my clothing business. I get to go to Vietnam, to Macedonia, to buy fabric. I travel and I have fun at the same time. And it sounds to me like that's what you're aiming for.
Yeah, because certainly with, you know, book writing is probably, you know, unless you're J.K. Rowling, and I'd love to be J.K. Rowling, so, you know, visualize that. But book writing is not going to, you know, turn me into a squillionaire.
No.
It's a real passion for me to write books that are interesting, entertaining, but also make people think and grow and develop. So, you know, I'm hoping to do the same thing with books, you know, go global book tour, you know, coach and mentor women all around the world, and just enjoy life.
Fantastic. So I'm going to ask you to leave us with 3 nuggets of wisdom. 2 to the younger women who are starting out. What would you have said to your younger self? And then I'll ask you for 4 nuggets of wisdom, 2 for each age group. And then what would you say to women over the age of 50?
Okay, so the nuggets to the younger self, I would say, you know, I think there's a real concept about us not being enough. And you are always enough for where you are at the point in your life. And if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you. Mm-hmm. And I think what's really difficult at the moment is social media and Instagram and all of those, you know, wonderful things that connect us. Like, I wouldn't have connected with you without technology, right? But they leave us with the impression that everyone else has got their shit together.
Right.
And they leave us with this veneer of connection around the perfection of everyone else's lives. And I think for younger women to, and this kind of goes to the nugget for what older women can do as well. I think we need to be more authentic. We need to connect with younger people and show them where we've had our own struggles and difficulties.
Yes.
And talk about our stories, because I think a lot of younger women are left with the impression that, you know, it's somehow, you know, it's people who've been successful, it was in their DNA. They don't realize the depth that people have had to pull their through. You know, so having those authentic conversations, especially when you're in senior roles, you know, I know in my senior roles, having had conversations where I've been vulnerable, people have come to me and said, oh, now I feel like I can do it because you felt like I could. So that's kind of maybe for both, you know, how do you reciprocate with, with that? The other thing I would tell my younger self is, don't think that your plan is your plan. You know, if you think really big, you can go really big. Because if I had have lived with my plan, I would still be, you know, I'd probably be in Johannesburg, because that was a bigger city than, you know, than I grew up in. That was like, oh, imagine if you lived in Johannesburg. You know, really set yourself a big goal and then just really see yourself living that life, because you can trick your subconscious brain into actually believing that that's what you're doing.
And your subconscious will work it out, right?
It will. And when you put it out there, and don't put it out with arrogance or whatever, put it out with humility and passion. But when you put it out there as to what you want, you will attract, you know, opportunities, there's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, which is a filter, and it filters out things that are not useful to you.
Yeah.
So if you use that part of your brain to actually filter opportunities, because if you don't believe an opportunity is going to be there for you, your brain will filter it out when it's right in front of your face.
That is so true.
So, you know, really working on yourself and seeing how you can shift. Change starts from the inside out. You know, first you've got to believe it, you've got to see it, and then when you can see it, other people will see it, and opportunities just come to you.
Yeah.
And you know,
wonderful.
And I would say the same to the 50-year-olds, because I think one of the biggest dangers of getting older is, especially in a culture that is so youth-oriented, you know, we've all got to look a certain way, and we've, you know, everything's about being young. Yeah. It's very, when you turn 50 and you start getting lines and you know, things are sagging, to kind of, I'm a has-been. And for me, I've often follow this wonderful gynecologist, Dr. Christiane Northrup in the US, and she talks about the wisdom of your 50s and how it should be the best time of your life. And so what I really want to work with older women is to not fear aging so much, to step into the space where you have wisdom, you have experience, and what deliciousness is out there for you to actually contribute back to the world. You know, how do you become your own little mini Oprah in your own world, you know?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. That is a really nice message to leave us all with. How do you become your own mini little Oprah? I am so loving that, because we all have that greatness in us, right?
Exactly. And, you know, you might not reach millions of people, but you might reach that one person that you make such a big difference to, that goes on and does something else.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I think in our 50s, we've got to start to say, and often some of us are having babies later, but often by your 50s, your children are more grown up, they're more sort of independent, and you can go on to do some other things.
Yeah.
And so my message to the 50s and the nugget is, use this time. Don't think it's dead time and you in the decline. Get energetic, get out there, you know, possibly you'll do the best work in your 50s.
Yes. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And thank you for coming online to do this podcast. I hope all the women out there who've heard you speak are left inspired and energized. For the young ones, knowing how to see what the future could look like. And for the older ones like us, to reinvent our lives and know that we've had the babies, we've had the careers. If you're at a crossroads and you're thinking about going in a different direction, find the support that you need to get it done. Don't do it the hard way. There's people out there like Tanya who can handhold you step by step all the way. So thank you so much, Tanya.
Lovely to meet you.
Awesome meeting you too, and let's keep in touch.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that.
Bye.
Yes.
Okay. So she is a sister from another mother from South Africa originally. Amazing woman. I love what she's doing in empowering women to use their voices and to speak. It's absolutely inspiring. So,
Yes,
Terry.
it's very important for us to encourage each other. Fear creeps in. We don't think we can do it, but you have it within you. You just have to, you know, like you tell me all the time, we're going to pull this out of you, you know. And so when we hear things, you know, it's like, I know I can do this. Look at all the things that I've done in my past. So let's move on.
It's in again from the UK. Excited that we might be making it to the UK before the end of the year. Yes, Dorothy, we are planning a summit before the end of the year, an in-person event. So I'll keep you updated with information about that as well. Let's see how we can make this happen. So our next speaker is coming to us live. Ashley, I can see you're there in the background. Please come on. We're going to play her video first. Let me see, maybe she's not hearing me. Ashley, we are going to play your video. Are you there? Okay, she's not having problems with power because they're in the middle of a storm on the East Coast, and she was having problems yesterday. Ah, there you are. How are you, sweetie? Lovely to see you again. Unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, her connection is not good. Say something, Ashley. We can't hear you. Are you having Wi-Fi problems today? I know you're saying there's a storm. The connection is not good at all.
No, they've got a hurricane there, so.
So Ashley, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play your video. I'll play your video, and perhaps if you can change your Wi-Fi connection, maybe try and use your cell phone data. See if you can improve the connection, because we can't hear you.
She's also muted.
You're muted. So if you're saying something, I can't hear what you're saying. So unmute yourself. Ashley. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play her video while she tries to sort that out. Yeah, I've had quite a few people I've been trying to contact on the East Coast of the US. There's apparently a big storm coming, Terry.
Ian has already passed through, and it's headed for Tampa now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Ashley's video. I'm glad she sent us the video. We'll play that while she's sorting out, and we'll try and have a Q&A session with her afterwards.
Okay.
Grace and peace and blessings be unto you. Grace and peace and blessings be unto you. Hello, everyone. My name is Coach Ashley Blanchard, and I am originally from Brooklyn, New York, and I reside here now in Westchester County and Elmsford, New York, in the USA. Here's a little bit more about me. I am known as the person with many hats. So I am a singer, songwriter, solo music artist, motivational speaker, activist, and advocate for mental health awareness. I am also a business coach. I am a best-selling author, and I am also a talk show host and a radio show host. I really want to thank you so much to Sister Gertrude and Sister Ruth for allowing me to come on once again. Okay, to be a guest speaker once again for the Her Story Circle Summit. I want to thank you so much again to Sister Gertrude and Sister Ruth, okay, for allowing me to come on again to be a guest speaker once again for the Her Story Circle Summit. And so the last time, a few times I've been on the Her Story Circle Summit, I've been sharing with you my testimony and my story, all right, about how, I'm celebrating 22 years of being an overcomer and a survivor from a long battle of mental health illness, and also a learning disability of a speech problem. In October of last year, I had encouraged you, all right, that the chains are breaking, and this is the season and the year of chains being broken. Every chain that has been holding you bondage, every chain that has been holding you trapped, every chain that has been holding you captive is going to be broken in the name of Jesus. In November, all right, of last year as well, I had also encouraged you that your help is on the way, and also that new mercies and new beginnings are happening for you. And so today's topic for this year, all right, today's topic for this time, I want to encourage you that a greater divine shift is happening. All right, so this topic for this year of the Her Story Circle Summit, I want to encourage you, all right, that a greater divine shift is happening. A greater divine shift is happening. So if you're watching this, please write this down or put this in the comments. Every day when you wake up and when you look yourself in the mirror, I want you to encourage yourself. A greater divine shift is happening. I want to encourage you that a greater divine shift is about to happen. God is shifting you into a greater position in your life, for your career, for your business, and for your ministry. I'm going to say that again. God is shifting you into a greater position in your life, for your career, for your business, and for your ministry. No more being stuck or being trapped, all right, or be held captive or be held bondage. You're going to come out of that circumstance and issue. All right, I want to encourage you that you're going to come out of that circumstance and issue. The chains are not going to stop you, all right, from reaching, all right, and going towards the greatest shit that God is doing in your life. Get ready because you're walking in victory and that you are victorious. I want you to encourage yourself that, all right? Encourage yourself. Say this to yourself, that you're walking in victory and that you are victorious. Hallelujah. Glory to God. Get ready because you're walking in victory and you are victorious. Get ready because God is doing a new and a major thing for you. No more walking in possibility. You will be walking in your purpose. All right, I want you to encourage yourself that you will no longer will be walking in possibility, all right, but you're going to be walking in your purpose. A new thing is about to happen for you. God has placed a greater calling over your life. All right, do not let any obstacles, do not let any struggles, do not let any negative issues or trials or circumstances or obstacles stop you, or negative words or negative comments stop you from walking and doing a greater calling that God has placed over your life. God has called you. God has chosen you to do the greater work that He has for you to do. Hallelujah. Glory to God. All right. Hallelujah. Glory to God. I'm going to say that again. God has placed a greater calling on your life. Always know that you are courageous and strong. Always know that you are courageous and strong. Always know that a greater shift is here. Your greater shift is here. A greater divine shift. A greater divine shift is about to happen. I want to encourage you that you're walking in excellence and success. All right, I want to encourage you that you're walking in excellence and success. When we look at 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17, it says that therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. All things are passed away. Behold, all things become new. I'm going to say that again. When we look at the scripture, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17, all right, it says that therefore, if any man, all right, in Christ, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. All things are passed away, and behold, all things become new. This scripture means that you will not be stuck. You will not stay stuck in the negative things from your past. You will not stay stuck in that misery, that broken relationship, that broken marriages, financial issues, problems at the workplace. All right, God is bringing you out of that. He's shifting you into a greater position that He has for your career, that He's doing in your life, that He's doing it for your business, and that He's doing for your ministry. I'm going to say that again. This scripture, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17, it means that, all right, it means that you will not stay stuck, and you will not be stuck in that negative thing, all right, from your past. You will not stay stuck in that negative trauma, all right, that you've been going through, all right, from your past. All right, you will not stay stuck in that sickness. You will not stay stuck in that circumstance. You will not stay stuck, all right, in that issue. You will not stay stuck in that financial problem. I'm telling you, God is bringing you out. God is healing you. God is delivering you. Get ready because a greater divine shift is about to happen. Get ready because something big is about to happen. Something amazing is about to happen. Something great is about to happen. You're walking into your winning season. You're walking into your winning season. You're walking into something great. Your miracle blessing overflow is about to happen for you. A miracle blessing overflow is about to happen for you. Miracle signs and wonders is about to happen for you. You got to encourage yourself that God is breaking the chains of negative trauma. He's breaking the chains, all right, of financial problems. He's breaking the chains of depression. He's breaking the chains of sickness. He's breaking the chains of broken relationship, broken marriages. All right, hallelujah. He's breaking that chains of demonic spirits, demonic attack, and demonic curses. A greater divine shift is happening, and it's going to happen for you. All right, I'm telling you, you will not stay stuck, all right, in that misery. You will not stay stuck in that broken relationship and broken marriages, financial issues, problems at your job, problems at the workplace. God is bringing you out of that. He's delivering you from it. He's healing you from it. All right, He's shifting you. He's shifting you to a greater position that He has for your career. All right, that He has for you, and that He's doing in your life, that He has for your businesses, and that He has for your ministry. He's shifting you into your greater calling that He has placed over your life. God is shifting you into a greater promotion at your job, to your financial breakthrough, to your financial blessing, to your overflow, to your healing, to your deliverance. He's shifting you into your healthy and better relationship and marriage. A greater shift is going to break every chain that has been holding you back, that has been holding you captive, that has been holding you bondage, and that has been been holding you trapped. Good God Almighty. Hallelujah. Glory to Jesus. Glory to hallelujah. I feel the anointing. And because there's some of you right now that is watching, has been dealing with broken marriages, has been dealing with broken relationships, has been dealing with demonic spirits, that has been dealing with demonic attacks and demonic curses, all right, demonic spirits and demonic attacks every day. The devil has been messing with you. He's been messing with your mind. He's been messing with your body. He's been messing with your finances. He's been attacking you, all right, every day. He's been causing you to making you have sleepless nights. But I'm telling you, God has interrupted the plans of the enemy, and he's stopping the plans of the enemy right now. So get ready, because a greater divine shift is happening. All right, a greater shift is going to break every chain that has been holding you back. It's also going to help you break free from all the negative troubles, that you have been experiencing. God is also shifting you into your healing as well. When we look at Isaiah chapter 53 verse 5, it says that, but he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities, the chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. This means that God is saying to you right now that this is your healing season. I'm going to say that again. This scripture means, and this scripture is telling you that God is saying to you right now, all right, that this is your healing season. You're going to be healed from that sickness. You're going to be healed from that disease that you have been going through. God is going to heal you from every negative trauma, every affliction that you have been experiencing. Whose report are you going to believe? Encourage yourself and say that you might be receiving bad reports, all right, and you might be, and it might be discouraging sometimes, but say to yourself, encourage yourself that you believe the report of the Lord. All right, put that in the comments right now if you're watching this. You believe the report of the Lord, even during times of rejection and being despised. All right, God is saying to you that he's going to heal you. God is saying to you that he's going to heal you from every sorrow. Now, he's going to strengthen you. He's going to comfort you, especially during the times of your loneliness. Especially during the times of loneliness, he's going to comfort you. All right, every time, all right, even during the times, all right, of weakness, he's going to comfort you. His goodness and his mercy, all right, is going to keep you. He's going to heal you and deliver you from every weakness. He's also going to give you the strength, all right, to overcome that trial. All right, he's saying to you right now that you're coming out of that sickness. Hallelujah, glory to God, that you have been dealing with. You're going to come out of that sickness more healed and more stronger than ever. He's also saying to you, God is also saying to you to get ready, because this is your healing season and this is your year to be healed. All right, I'm going to say it again. This is your season and this is your season to be healed. This is your healing season and this is your season to be healed. Put that in the comments. This is your healing season and this is your season to be healed. Hallelujah. Glory to God. All right, this is your season to reach the greatest shift that God is about to do in your life, and that he's doing it for you. Mountains of discouragement, darkness, negativity, lack of self-confidence, lack of self-empowerment, self-love, self-care, mountains of low self-esteem, trials and tribulations, obstacles and struggles are all going to be moved. God is going to move those mountains that has been stopping you from reaching towards your greatest shift and your breakthrough. I'm going to say that God is moving those mountains right now that has stopped you from reaching towards the greatest shift and your breakthrough. This is the year, this is the day, all right, that you will be reaching for greater and higher heights for your career, for your businesses, and for your ministry. I'm telling you, greater open doors and open opportunities about to happen for you. Just trust God, because I know that God will do it. All right, I know that every obstacle and struggle that you went through, and always know that every struggle, every obstacle that you've been through was nothing but a setback, because God has a greater comeback for you. So I want to encourage you that do not let the negative chains, all right, do not let negativity or negative words or negative comments, all right, stop you from reaching the greater divine shift that God is doing in your life, or stop you from doing the greater calling that God has placed over your life. Always know that you're walking with confidence. Always know that you're walking with excellence, that you're walking with your head held high, God, that you're walking like a champion, a winner, and an overcomer. You are strong. You are courageous. Keep on walking to a greatest. Keep on walking into the greatest ship. All right, that God is doing in your life. That you're going in your life. Keep on walking to the greater calling that God has placed over your life, and do not let negative change from your past stop you from being anointed man and woman of God that God has called you to be. Get ready, because the chains from your past is going to be broken and is going to be destroyed, and you're going to enter into a season where God is doing a greater shift in your life. Get ready, because God is getting ready to do it. All right, so I want to encourage you, all right, that a greater divine shift is about to happen. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. I'm telling you, a greater divine shift is about to happen. Hallelujah. Glory to God. Get ready for a greater divine shift is about to happen, because God is shifting you from moments of sadness into your season of happiness. This is your season to be happy and to feel happy. All right, God is shifting you. All right, God is shifting you from having moments of doubt, all right, into a season of empowerment. All right, this also means, all right, that there has been many times you've been receiving negative comments and negative words that you want to get. All right, there's been a season when you have been experiencing negative words and negative comments that is causing you to have doubt, all right, and also making you feel like you are defeated. All right, these comments were so hurting and so overbearing that it caused you to struggle with self-confidence, self-love, and self-care. But I want to encourage you that everything that the bullies and naysayers and the devil has said to you was nothing but a lie. Encourage yourself, all right, that God sees the best in you. God sees the great in you. Encourage yourself that you're more than a conqueror. You are the head and not the tail. You are above and not beneath. You are victorious. You are a winner. You are a champion. You are beautiful. You are strong. Always remember from Psalms 139 verse 14. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. So I want to encourage you that a greater divine shift is about to happen, is about to take place over your life right now. I want to thank you so much once again to Sister Gertrude and Sister Ruth for allowing me to come on, all right, and be a speaker, all right, for the Her Story Circle Summit. Take care, everyone. God bless. And always remember, with God, all things are possible, because you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Take care. Stay blessed. Bye.
Okay. Wow. What a powerful testimony. Absolutely powerful, Ashley. You always inspire me with your words of wisdom, what you bring every single time you come to our platform. It's almost like you were ministering to me right now. I was needing to hear those words to keep me on track and to keep me going. Wonderful to have you back on our stage. So we still can't hear you. So Terry, if you would like to comment, I'm going to try and call her on Facebook and see if the sound picks up from Facebook.
Okay. Yeah. Coach Ashley, dynamic. Everything that you've said really, really touches. It's important that we know our purpose. It's important that we listen and be encouraged by what we hear.
Okay, I'm trying to call
I
her
hear
on
her. I
Facebook.
hear the phone ringing. Yes.
Yeah. It sounds like they are very, very challenged in Florida at the moment. So maybe Ashley, seeing as you're having all these technical issues.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
Oh, there she goes. Hey, how are you?
Good.
Wonderful. At least we can hear you. That is awesome.
Yes, I know. Yeah, my connection is bad with StreamYard.
Okay. All right. At least we can have the sound here on Facebook. So tell us what you have been up to since the last time you graced us with your presence.
Um, can you repeat that question again?
What have you been up to? I know you're about to publish a new book. What has been happening in your life since the last time you spoke?
Well, I'm a best-selling author of 12 books now. Yes, my first anthology as a visionary, is called The Chain Breaking Experience. And what the book is about is the authors are sharing their testimony and their story about the chains that they were dealing with and how God broke those chains off of them, and how, this is the season of great things and bigger things to happen, for us. So that's what I've been up to lately. And then I've been working on new music. My fourth solo music album, is out. And I've been doing a whole lot of speaking, engagements. I've been traveling, and also getting my business into action too as well.
Fantastic. Absolutely inspiring. I love what you're doing. And I know that are you looking for more speakers for your anthology right now?
Yeah, I'm looking for more authors for the anthology. So volume 1 is out now. Volume 2 will be out in December. And yes, and I'm getting ready to release volumes 3 and 4 next year. And so volume 3 will be released in April, and volume 4 will be released, all right, in June. And so for volume 3, I'm looking for authors and for poets to join to be a part of volume 3. And then for volume 4, I want to invite singers, musicians, praise and worship leaders, and songwriters to join volume 4.
Fantastic. So if anybody out there is inspired to get published, here is an opportunity for you. And how can people get hold of you, Ashley? Do you have a website? Do you want me to share your email address? What's the best way for people to get hold of you?
Yeah, so they can contact me by my email at ashleyblanchard@yahoo.com, all lowercase, Ashley Blanchard at yahoo.com. They can also follow me on social media, on my personal page on Facebook, Ashley Blanchard, my business page, Coach Ashley Katisha Blanchard. They can DM me there. Or same thing with Instagram, my personal at Coach Ashley Blanchard. My business, I am Ashley Blanchard. My Twitter page at I am Miss Ashley.
Okay, so I'm going to share your email right now so that people can get hold of you. If anybody out there is interested in getting published in this volume of books, please get hold of Ashley. She's looking for musicians, she's looking for spiritual people to share their stories and be part of this amazing anthology. So, Ashley, what is happening with the weather on the East Coast? It looks like quite a few people are challenged right now.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of bad weather. We had some little bit of rain, happening. And I know it's hurricane season, but we all praying to God for safety. And God is going to bring us through, and we're going to make it through this together.
Fantastic. Ashley, thank you so much for coming online and gracing us with your presence today. We look forward to having you back again and hearing what you're up to. We are planning an in-person conference in November in Phoenix in the US. I'll send you information about that once I've firmed up the date and the location. Would love you to be a part of that as well.
Awesome. Awesomeness. That will be awesome. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Ashley. Wonderful to have you back with us today.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Thank you, guys.
Take care of yourself. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Well, I'm glad we got to do that with her. It was a bit challenging because of the technology, but at least I managed to get hold of her on Facebook. So that's the great thing about technology as well. If one thing fails, you try the next one.
Yes.
All right. Terry, so who do we have next? I'll up the next video.
Okay, we have Sandy B. Simmons.
All right. We read her bio. I'll line up her video now.
Sandy B. is the author of Simple Truths, Being Prepared, CEO of Pregnant Today, and the founder of Simply Better Health. Sandy believes the building blocks of our next generation begin with parents to be. I think very differently. I believe there's always a way and that possibilities are endless, whether it's to increase your vitality, enhance fertility, create healthy pregnancies and offspring, your family benefits within nature-based environments, instigating a butterfly effect, impacting friends and families, which flows on to people right around the world. Challenged with many health issues, infertility, miscarriage, IBS, and digestive problems, a near-death experience, autoimmune issues, hearing loss, and tendinitis, hair loss, and many internal struggles with migration, loss of family, and trauma, I recognize 3 key areas that we all experience. What we ingest affects our mind, and our mind affects our gut, and vice versa. We struggle daily with what we ingest, with our environments and resulting behaviors. We understand that infertility, cancers, heart disease, and many new diseases are on the increase, which we would all like to avoid. So true. You are what you eat. I'd like to introduce to you Sandy B. Simmons.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me here.
It's so good to see you again. Please formally introduce yourself. Tell everybody where you're based, how old you are, and just share your story today on the HerStory podcast.
Okay, so my name is officially Sandra Beryl Simmons, affectionately known as Sandy, and go under the name of, you might find me under Sandy B to differentiate me a little bit. Wow, I'm in Melbourne, Australia, originally from London. I've been here for many years. I'm 63 years old, almost. I've picked that in a couple of weeks. 62 at the moment. Wow, where to start with my story? I'll go through my life fairly briefly to give you a bit of an overview. When I was 12, I was suddenly told that we were going to go and live in Australia. And I had no idea where that was back in the 60s. I'd done a little bit of geography at school, but wanted to know whether I needed to learn another language.
Wow.
And whilst I speak English, there is another language here, but we fall into it fairly quickly. So, yeah, we came here. It was really difficult, very hard. My father had a heart attack after a couple of months of being here, and my mother ended up in hospital with chest infection, etc. So I took the reins, being the eldest, and my life sort of turned upside down into being a bit of a parent for a while.
Wow.
I was thrust through school very, very quickly. I was going to grammar school in England, so they put me up a couple of years here. I finished school at 16, and have a very old-fashioned father who didn't want me to go to university because girls don't do that. So I ended up doing the good old, reception stenographer type work.
Okay.
And in response to that, I left home at 17.
Oh, wow.
And went back to the UK with my extended family. I missed them dreadfully, as did my mum.
Mm-hmm.
And stayed there for a few years, came back, met somebody, got married, had children. And after about 10 years, realised that this isn't really what I wanted. So my journey, I guess, started when I was that magic age of 33, where I decided that I wanted something different in life, and I wanted my family to, or my children, to experience things a as much as possible, but in a healthy way. So I went on to study nutrition and naturopathy, and I had already been working as a breastfeeding counsellor. I went on to become a lactation consultant, and then I delved into fertility. So I work out at Monash with which is one of our main medical centres here, with a doctor over there and we're both trying to get natural fertility into that zone that's missed from doctor to IVF specialist. We're trying to get this gap filled up with a lot of information. So that's my focus at the moment. I've written one book on preconception. I'm writing the next one on conception at the moment, in between nursing my mum. And many of you might relate to that at our age. And yeah, just focusing on being in clinic just 2 half days a week, and some online work. I have a few clients overseas, and basically it's really about helping them to see whether they want to have children, because quite often these days people are feeling like they have to.
Yes.
And it's not really their calling, and sorting all that out. So we do a lot of that work if people resonate with what I do. And then if they do decide to, I obviously attract the cases that are a bit difficult. And, you know, we might end up having to have a bit of assistance, but not necessarily total IVF. And, you know, there's a lovely woman right at the moment about to give birth in Singapore, who is 44 and had all sorts of trouble. She did IVF a few times. She had multiple miscarriages. And after working with me for 6 months last year, her and her partner decided to go IUI, which is just the assisted part of IVF, and fell pregnant straight away, and it's all gone beautifully.
Explain that terminology to us, because I'm pretty sure that there's going to be women who are going to listen to this call who have a friend, who have a daughter, a granddaughter. What does that mean?
Okay, so I guess most of us know what IVF is, where you go the what I call the full hog, and you have, you know, your eggs are often taken out maybe a few years before and frozen. Mm-hmm. But when you do want to become pregnant, so then what they'll do is they'll artificially use the semen from your partner and artificially impregnate those eggs and then place them back in your body. But for you to be able to accept that, there's a lot of hormone treatment that goes on. It also depends on what's going on for the woman herself. She might have to take quite a few different drugs to prepare her body. And then there's no guarantee that that will actually hold when that egg's replaced back in the body. When we talk about IUI, that's just sort of an assisted type of where you don't really take the drugs very much. There's not many drugs involved, and sometimes it's just a matter of taking one. A very common one is Clomid, some of you may have heard of, and really preparing the body, which is what we do, and it all flows beautifully. So it could be just tweaking those hormones a little bit, especially if someone's a little bit older. So that sort of gives you the difference. It's you know, not as toxic. And yeah, in our field, what we're endeavouring to do is to get the message out there that a lot of things can be done naturally. A lot of women don't understand their cycle. But, you know, we all know that we get a period. We all know that we ovulate, that it doesn't necessarily have to be on a particular day, which everybody says it's day 14. And sometimes the apps aren't accurate enough. We need to do a lot of observation and understand exactly what's going on. So,
fantastic. Yeah. That's very, very encouraging to hear. Now, your first book, you talk about post-conception. And for people who are struggling with infertility, there is a lot that you can do before you prepare to have your baby that can help in that fertilization process, correct?
That's exactly right.
It's a good thing, and I hope you're going to do another book, a third one, so there's a sequel to your series.
Oh, there is 5 in the series.
Awesome.
So the third one is on pregnancy.
Yes.
Yeah, and then there's one on birthing and one on lactation and early foods.
Okay.
So it goes 9 months before, 9 months pregnant,
yes,
9 months after.
Oh,
It's a really overarching area that we would like to see some sort of continuity of connecting with the same people and having people to guide these new parents through, or parents to be.
what called you to work in this area? Was it through a personal challenge of your own?
What called me to work in this area? Well, I've worked in lactation for a very long time, over 30 years, and nutrition. And I saw the consequences with being called out to babies that was really suffering. And I feel needlessly, I know that there is a big gap in education about breastfeeding. I'm not a Nazi, I'm not saying everybody has to breastfeed, but we need to understand the consequences of not breastfeeding.
Yes.
Or not having access to human milk. If, you can't, for some reason, can't breastfeed yourself, there's only like 3% of women in the world really can't breastfeed, and that's usually because of breast augmentation or, having breasts implanted.
Yes.
They could have cut nerves, all sorts of things. It all depends. Or the reverse, reducing your breast size. And sometimes there's just been a malformation. The breasts haven't developed, but it's such a really, really small minority.
Yeah.
And if we think about all the mammals in the world, and they all nurture their babies, they all feed them themselves, because it's just that continuum from feeding them inside,
yeah,
and it's that extension outside.
Quite critical when the baby is born.
Yeah, it really is critical. I mean, how long you keep it going for is also another issue.
Yes.
But if people could just, and women could realise and work through the issues that they feel they have, if they've got some, before they have the baby. So during pregnancy, there's quite a bit of, education still needed, so that you're prepared. Because whilst it's a seemingly natural process, like many things these days, things have become complicated.
Yeah. So true. Oh, wow. So if you were to talk to a couple right now, a woman out there who's listening to this podcast and isn't sure whether they want to have a baby, because you said something very interesting in the beginning, that it's not for everyone to parent. Sometimes people feel under a lot of pressure from family, from friends, that after you've reached a certain age in your life, you should have a baby. And if that person felt they didn't want to have a baby and they're feeling under pressure, what advice would you give?
Okay. Advice is probably not the right word as such, but it's leading you through a process to hopefully with your partner, to decide it's not even to decide, because you've probably already made the decision, but to really speak about what it is that you're feeling. Yeah. And quite often women don't express what they feel because of this big expectation, this is what my body's supposed to be doing and creating. Mm-hmm. But it's not something that I want to head down. I've got a bigger calling. There's plenty of children in the world. It's not like we're becoming extinct at the moment. And my sister is a perfect example. She hasn't had children.
Okay.
She chose not to have children, and she always speaks about that quite openly. And her work is her baby, so to speak.
Yes.
So I've worked that through with her probably 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
So I guess that also came into being into the process of what I put into my work.
Yeah.
To give you advice is really, there's a process to go through. I can be an intermediary, talking with you and the other people in your life to sort of get them to sort of change their mindset, and have a think about, are they actually putting so much stress on this person?
Without even realizing it too, a lot of the times.
Sorry?
And sometimes without even realizing it.
Oh, definitely. It's all unconscious, most of it. It's not done deliberately, but once that is pointed out that, that this is what's happening, and it can be the same for somebody who wants to get pregnant and they've got this extra stress around them too. And family and friends, all very well-meaning, sometimes are not your best friends at that particular time.
That's so true.
Yeah. And, I've had a couple of different couples that have decided the woman is the one who's instigated it and said, I don't want to have children. Spoken to the father with me there, or not the father that could have been a father, the partner, and he's just gone, oh, thank goodness for that, because I don't either. Why they chose each other in the first place, but they, they didn't realise. So
get to tell the other. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's really about having even conversations like we're having now, that and just going through a few little processes to see if it is really what you would love to do. And, we've got women who are still having babies in their 40s, if you choose to later.
Yes.
My motto is never say never.
Yeah.
It may not be the right time for that person.
Yeah. That's fascinating. So how can people get hold of you, Sandy?
Well, they can get hold of me by my email, sandy@simplybetterhealth.com.au.
I'll share that to the podcast.
I've said it too fast. Sandy, SANDY, at simplybetterhealth. Yeah, .com.au.
Okay.
And they can call me on, it'll be +61 402 051 553. I like to talk to people direct. I'll call you back if you leave a message, if I'm just not available at the time or talking to somebody else. I like to work with people one-on-one if they choose to do that work. But I am heading out into the speaking arena again. I just want to get to more people. I've just been asked to speak at the Women's Economic Forum in India next year.
Awesome.
So I'm putting my feelers out for a few more events to speak at.
It's really good that you're getting yourself out there and making yourself accessible. And now with the advent of the internet, you've got clients not just in Australia, but in Singapore. So if anybody out there is listening, Sandy is accessible and available. I will share all the details of her website and her email with the podcast. But Sandy, thank you so much for coming online this morning and sharing with us. This is a pivotal topic for most women. Bearing of children is a pressure that is put on us by society. Some of us love it, some of us don't, and it's okay either way.
That's right.
Thanks so much, Sandy.
That's all right. Can I just add that I have a website called Pregnant Today?
Okay.
I'll give that to you, and I'll give you those details in the chat.
All the links that you would like to go with the podcast. That would be great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sandy.
Bye.
All right. So, a story about infertility. It is something that a lot of women are challenged with. I do love what she said about there's no shortage of children. You know, some women are put under so much pressure to have a biological child, and yet there's so many children in the world that could do with parents. And maybe it's just not something you want to do, and being okay with that as well. Just taking that pressure off. Now, I know that you've had your journey with this, Terry, and
Yes. And
it sounds
I chose to not go through the process of all the testing and all of that. It's like I wanted a child, but the Lord said no. But I have tons of nieces, nephews, godchildren.
yes.
So my mother, of course, you know, she and her wisdom, everybody's not meant to be a mother. You may be needed
That's,
elsewhere.
you have a very wise mother, Terry. She certainly guided you your whole life, because a lot of women get pressure from their moms more than anyone else.
Mhm. Well, she tried to apply some pressure. After my first divorce, she was like, well, you know, you don't have to be married to have a baby. And I was like, you just want another grandchild? No, that's not going to happen.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So hopefully, if anybody out there is needing some support, is needing some help, please reach out to Sandy. Her email is at the bottom of the screen of this video. So please go back to the replay if you didn't catch it then, and try and connect with her and see how you can get yourself some support. Right, we're going to have a male speaker.
Yes.
We
Max
do
Maxson.
welcome men to speak to this platform. Yes.
Yes, we do.
Just so everybody knows, 25% of our speakers are male. So if there's any men out there who want to come and share their stories, please feel very welcome. I believe that until we start bringing men into the rooms where we are discussing issues that pertain to women, nothing much will change for any of us around the world. So go ahead and read the bio, Terry, while I line up the video.
Okay. Max has a strong technical background in software, combined with business acumen and management experience. He has worked on many projects that involve planning, developing, and launching consumer products for the internet, with reach measured in millions of active users. He has a robust background in applied mathematics, software design, and digital signal processing. Max has represented companies of standardization bodies, EE 802.1, and DLNA, and have acted as the media-facing spokesperson for companies. He specializes in strategic product planning and development, technology, internet mobile and embedded, business planning, and partnership development. I present to you Max Maxson.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the HerStory TV and the HerStory podcast. This is Gertrude Butcher here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia today. And I am blessed with a host coming to us. I'm not sure which part of the country. Max, please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're based right now. And we will talk about the power of education and what you have done to change education in children's lives.
Hi, Gertrude. Hello, everyone. I'm Max Azarov. I'm CEO of NovaKid. Currently calling in from Russia, from Moscow area, and looking forward to this conversation.
Max, I've done a lot of research about you, the work that you have done in the tech sphere. Tell me, you came from a very corporate background. What was the inspiration that took you down this track to create a platform like this to help children learn English in a very, very innovative and interesting way?
Well, it actually has always been my passion to teach. I always kind of envisioned myself as, sharing the knowledge and kind of teaching the new generation. This is one of the kind of being fantasies of mine for a very long time. And, I always kind of tried to find ways to do that on the sidelines. Recently, when I actually became a father of 3 myself, it really dawned on me that, just education for kids in general and language learning specifically is just really stuck in the past. And I didn't see anybody innovating in this area. Just coincidentally, I was kind of hungry for a new project, something else to do, and decided to go ahead on pursue this idea.
So tell me a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey, how you came to developing the MVP for this app, and how you managed to raise the funds to actually get it out into what, 40 countries now?
Yeah, plus and minus. The journey has been, I would say short and long at the same time. It's very short when you've done it, and it's pretty long when you're doing it. We initially started with a very, very basic platform that mostly just was mostly just one-on-one tutors with video link, and that we didn't even have mobile app. We only had a web app in your browser, very minimal materials for curriculum, and off we went with that. So it actually took us only about, I think, 6 months. So there was only 2 content writers, myself and one more person, Amy, who's our director of learning efficacy now. And just 2 of us, we wrote the whole curriculum within 6 months. First curriculum, of course, first version. So it was really very minimal, very basic. But even that really got traction within the market, and we went from there.
Now, you've been extremely innovative in designing this curriculum. Children learn through play, and it's my understanding that you've gamified the learning process for children. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, we actually started with, as I said, with a fairly classic product, essentially just one-on-one tutoring transferred online. But very quickly we realized that it does not really release the full potential of the medium, right? Because internet is so much more than just a video link with the pictures, right? There's videos, there is games, and kids love that. Kids consume that with lots of pleasure. They spend lots of time on YouTube. I can attest to that myself with my kids. Basically, we started thinking, how can we harness that to really power the learning and to extend the learning outside of classroom? So once they are, completed their tutoring session, how can we keep them stick around for, let's say, the tutoring session is half an hour. How can we keep them to stick around for half an hour more and do more learning without actually kind of forcing the parents to be the bad guys to kind of say, okay, sit down and don't leave, right? And that's how the idea of storyline-based learning came around. So we basically decided, okay, let's design our curriculum about storylines, because as humans, and it's a very well researched fact, we absorb information a lot better when it's framed as stories, right? This is where all the fairy tales are coming from, because essentially that's the way we learn. That's the way we absorb information. And we started building our first storyline curriculum, which is called NovaKid Magic Academy. It's already used by about half of our students today. And it includes videos, it includes learning games. So basically all the main components that we know are engaging kids today. And we see that roughly about 50% of the time kids spend learning is actually outside of the tutoring sessions. So as I said, basically they spend almost as much time learning by themselves as they spend with a tutor, which is great, but I think we can do better than that. And one of the other amazing outcomes is that we see about 28% uplift in the efficacy of learning. So basically how much material students actually absorb.
Okay.
That grows with this new curriculum.
And so are the kids getting some kind of an incentive, some kind of rewards? What is it that keeps them going? Are the stories that engaging that they just want to come back and find out what happened next?
Yes, exactly. There is basically we use all the I would say state-of-the-art tools. So there is incentives within a game. They earn stars. They earn cups. There's leaderboards. We also have multiplayer components with player versus player, as well as co-op modes where students play together. So it's really using kind of the tool set that most of the games nowadays are using quite successfully, and it's really just a matter of putting some learning into this context. That's really where the trick lies. But I think our content writers are doing a great job to kind of make it feel like a game, but actually be a learning vehicle underneath.
That is fantastic. Now, I know that right now with COVID, a lot of parents are challenged with having kids at home, having to find other support for them to educate their kids. Have you found that with the current situation, there's a bigger uptake of your app? Has that made a difference?
Yes, we saw a huge uptick in the beginning of pandemic in 2020. Over that year, we grew about 7 times year on year, which was completely unexpected, and we were not prepared for that. So I had to scramble a little bit to meet the demand, it definitely accelerated things. I think a lot of parents who were skeptical about online learning, and they were kind of happy with the current offline arrangements. They really were forced to try this new format. Yeah. And based on our experience, most of them were not disappointed.
Fantastic. Now you have an array of tutors from every single corner of the globe. I was on your website just looking at the different tutors that you've enrolled. How do you select your tutors? They're coming from different countries. And are they matched with the children from the countries that they're from, or it's just global?
It's global. We're basically building a global community. So by design, we're trying to match kids with tutors from other countries because, that's really what the English language is all about, right? Communicating across borders. Why would you want to talk to your countryman in English? It doesn't make any sense. Yes. So it's global. Moreover, we also are encouraging some student-to-student learning within the platform, as I mentioned, multiplayer game modes, and we're also encouraging students to communicate across borders. So it's really not just a school; it's actually a community of kids learning English, global community.
Fantastic. And I suppose just with the peer-to-peer connections with the kids, they get to learn other cultures as well. They get to understand people from different countries. So that's going to be another bonus from the experience that people get by coming onto this platform, correct?
Absolutely. I think I would even frame it kind of more broad than that. That the kids who go through NovaKid experience, they are psychologically on a completely different level from other peers because they they suddenly see that, hey, there's a big world out there. There is different people with different cultures, and I can speak to them. I can communicate to them. We can work together. So I think that's really what the future of workplace looks like. That's all our future, and we're giving them a head start, and hopefully, not just Novocaine, but hopefully in general, that's what the future looks like. That's what we aspire to.
Now, take me back to your formative years with regards to education. You're from Russia originally. I've noticed you've studied in the United States. Did you study English while you were in Russia, or did you learn when you left the country? Tell me a little bit about your background.
Both. I studied English when I was in country, also studied a little bit when I was in the US. Well, obviously, I would say not a little bit, I would say mostly practicing it. Let's say studying the practical side. Yes. So when I came to the US, I definitely knew the theory, what it should be, but maybe kind of practice-wise, not so much. So it was definitely a mix, and my own experience definitely taught me that you better start practicing soon. Because first, I would say roughly maybe 10 to 12 years of studying English, I barely had any practice.
Okay, right. And it's completely different when you are in a country where you're fully immersed in the culture, in the language.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very different, because you're expected to actually use this language to communicate, not just to kind of know about it.
Yes.
So it is different, and I believe kind of the big difference of the 21st century is that we're all going to be living in this world. You're not going to need to go to the US or the Australia to actually be immersed in English language, because it's going to be all around us as the world globalizes more and more.
Yeah, and with globalization, starting children off this early is just an amazing gift that I think you're bringing to the world. A lot of people end up as adults being thrown into different environments and not really knowing how to relate at a later age. So you're kind of flattening the playing field for these kids. So tell me a little bit about your organization and the corporate responsibility, social responsibility aspect. What do you do to give back to society through your business?
I would start with our own team. So we basically are very diverse. Our own team comes from, I would say, probably 20 or so countries at the moment. We have people of all kinds of backgrounds, both ethnical, religious, and even like sex orientation. So we are very much, not that we ask people during the interview what they are, but we have like all kinds of folks working in Novocaine, and I'm very proud of that. I think this is really the way of the future, to be as inclusive as possible. We also have several programs when we work with some kids who had learning challenges. So maybe Andrew could help me with that. I think we had some of the programs specifically for kids who have dyslexia to help them, learn reading better, things like that. But we're still young, still a young company. I think there's still a lot of things we can do and will do to really make a difference. As we kind of build out our content portfolio, one thing that we're definitely looking into doing is making that available as much as possible to kids who may not necessarily afford, whose parents may not necessarily afford tutoring at the moment, but still they should be able to benefit from the content. We're still not there, but I'm hoping within a short period of time we will be there in position to do that.
That's fantastic. Now, education is a game changer for especially people in developing countries. I'm personally from Zimbabwe. I am where I am because I got a really good education. Now, why do you think education is so important for the future of humanity?
We're we are what we are, as you said, not because we're organically, what we are, but also because there is a huge cultural layer on top of that, right? And culture is basically all about education. So I think it's essentially just something that makes a whole lot of sense if you want to have a prosperous, nation. And it's been proven by, over and over again in terms of the economic growth. Having more educated citizens just simply translates into better outcomes economically for countries, and it's been demonstrated over and over again. Especially, recent transition example is when women finally started getting, on par education with men. The uplift in the economic terms was tremendous, and I expect that this will continue to be so as more and more people get access to better education.
Yeah. Now, in terms of the future, you guys seem to be on the cutting edge with regards to how you're innovating and building out your platform. What can people expect? What else do you have in your back pocket that our listeners and our readers can get from you as an organization?
Well, they can expect us to continue innovating on the curriculum. They can expect us to have very strong focus on the efficacy of learning to, make sure that we provide the most value with our product. As I already mentioned, they can expect us to make our content more available even before they have a chance to try our tutoring services. And just in general, they can expect to hear from us in many ways, because we're really trying to be to kind of promote the online learning in general and language learning specifically.
My last question for you is, if you could have a conversation with the future you, let's say when you are 100 and you're sitting on your rocking chair, reflecting back on your life and what this has actually done in the lives of children globally, if you could have a conversation with the future 100-year-old you, what would you say to him?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I would actually live that long. The life expectancy is not that great for men, especially. But I would hope definitely that at that age, I can tell you what I would hope. I would have to say when I was 100, I would hope that I would have to say that we made a difference in lives of millions of kids around the world, and really, give them better chance for happier life. This would be my hope, that we can scale this to the levels that we can truly reach millions and millions of kids. And we're still, in the very early stages of this path. Today's our students are still counted in hundreds of thousands. So we still have at least a couple orders of magnitude to go in terms of reaching out, because we're 7 billion people planet, and there's lots and lots of room to go. And I think we can reach to many kids, including underprivileged background. So I'm hoping that as we kind of mature as an organization, as we get more solid footing, we can actually turn more and more towards this aspect and really address more and more needs of those who badly need this little nudge to change the trajectory of their lives. Because for those kids who are underprivileged, for them even like the slightest nudge makes a whole lot of difference, whereas like for kids who are already well off, maybe not so much.
No, thank you for that. I do think that what you've created can revolutionize education globally, especially if those who don't get access do. So I think it's beautiful for you to hold on to that vision, because that would be a beautiful legacy for you to leave. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you for this interview. Is there anything I should have asked you that I left out?
Good question. Andrew, can you think of anything?
Well, no, I think that we've just briefly we touched upon everything we do. I just, if you're really interested, about this impact that NovaKid makes on CSR base, I can provide you with more information because some of our projects are still under development, and we hope to announce them during 2022 and later on. Yeah, but basically everything's covered. I think that's a good blitz.
Good.
Fantastic.
If I may just have one idea here. What NovaKid has recently penetrated is new markets, embrace more kids from different countries. Maybe you could talk about that a little bit, Max. Could tell about the new markets in Malaysia, Indonesia, and India, China.
Sure. We can cover that briefly if that makes sense for you, Gertrude.
Sure. So which parts of Australasia you've covered now? If you can give me the list of countries, the new emerging countries.
Yeah, so we last year we started some, I would say, in earnest experiments in Asia, because up until then we were mostly focused on the Europe and Middle East regions, a little bit of Africa. We had some good traction, I would say, kind of in developed countries, which would be South Korea and Japan, but also some pretty promising developments in developing world, which is Malaysia, Indonesia. And for this year, we're doing similar experiments in India, which is a very big ad tech market with lots of kids who need help, who need more help with education. Another country we're looking at is China, definitely, but obviously due to kind of legal regulations, still finding our way there. Yeah, it's a bit more challenging, but it also a big up and coming market for us.
Okay. Yeah, China would be huge. We get a lot of Chinese students in New Zealand and Australia coming just for English. And if you could penetrate that market, I think that would be amazing. Awesome. No, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for all coming on board with your team. I hope I do this article justice. I'll pitch it and I'll keep you informed if it gets picked up. And once it's online, I will send you the links. And I would love to repurpose this video on a couple of other platforms that I have, if you don't mind, just to get the word out to other avenues where I think this content could bring a bit of traction to your business as well.
Absolutely.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Max. And thank you for the team. Thank you for putting this together.
Thank you.
All right.
Pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye. Okay. So that was a presentation from Russia.
I know, that was interesting.
It was filmed before this war started. So I just reconnected with them to try and see if they can bring this technology to Africa. And I'm trying to find a way that I can be one of the sponsors to get the technology into the hands of children in Africa as well. So it's an exciting project.
It is. It is very exciting. Anytime you're educating, being an educator myself, my training, we need to learn everything we possibly can and pass it on.
Yeah. Education is a key breaker. So this series of videos was called The Power of Giving. And I was really looking for those organizations in the world who are making money, but also making a difference with social impact in terms of what they do. And this one really stood out. So it's an exciting time. I'm really looking forward to seeing how we can work with them, Terry.
Yeah, I would love to work with them. Yeah. Maybe After the wars, we'll go to
Exactly.
Russia.
Exactly. Oh gosh. Oh, we're in a bit of a mess at the
Oh,
moment, Terry.
yeah.
So we have time for one more.
Okay.
And
It is Stephanie
Stephanie, yes, keep
Lyra
it brief.
Lynn. Uh-huh.
I'll line up her video.
Okay. Aloha, beautiful soul. I am Stephanie Lyra Lynn, a certified life coach, Reiki master, family constellations practitioner, and way shower for the new earth. I have an MA degree plus MPHIL degree in Buddhism from Columbia University's Department of Religion and incorporate many years of Buddhist practice and research into my work. I'm passionate about supporting people through their health and ascension journey through private coaching and mentorship, emotional and inner child healing, shadow work, guided meditation, embodiment practices, and direct wisdom teachings. If you are experiencing a spiritual awakening or life transition and are seeking support to master your mind, energy, and emotions, transmute the pain of the past into wisdom and power, and joyfully embody and express your true self, you are in the right place. My philosophy is that in order to really find and keep your happiness, you have to be willing to move through the darkness. I am a proponent of racial honesty and shadow work, diving into the unconscious aspect of self that we often hide or reject, and believe that both are the necessary for true transformation. Our journey together requires powerful intention, courage, and willingness to take action. And I partner with awakening souls who are ready to embrace positive change. I present to you Stephanie Lyra Lynn.
Hello, everybody. Oh. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the HerStory TV and the HerStory podcast. This is Gertrude Matcha here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another amazing young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Lyra Lynn. I'm based on Big Island, Hawaii. I'm 37 years old. And yeah, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share a little bit today about my journey, sort of rebirthing myself. For me, the turning point happened when I was, well, it was in 2013. So I guess that's about 8 or 9 years ago. And I was actually in the middle of a PhD program studying Buddhism at Columbia University in New York. But I was in Taiwan at that time. I was already at the dissertation stage. So I had already gone through 6 years of coursework in New York. And I found myself in Taiwan, which is actually the homeland of my father's side. So I think I was also touching base with my roots in a deeper way. I was born in New York City, and I hadn't really spent much time in Asia, China, Taiwan. So I was getting in touch with my roots. I was just feeling more emotions, allowing myself to feel more emotions. I think the freedom of moving to another place kind of opens things up in a new way. But I could feel this gnawing dissatisfaction start to creep in, and it would get stronger and stronger until one day I was working on my chapter 1 of my dissertation, and I felt like my fingers couldn't move on the keyboard anymore. Like no matter how much I tried, I just couldn't type another word. And that was so rare for me because I had always been like the good girl, the good student, just following the rules. And I was very good at making myself do whatever it is I thought I should be doing. So it was very rare for me to have a moment where I just, something larger was moving through me. And this larger force, I would call it the voice of my heart, of my soul, was just like, you need to stop what you're doing right now and listen. And so I actually did. I actually, for the first time, stopped and didn't push, forward. And I remember going back to my room and just crying and just feeling like, what just happened? Like, I don't know what's going on. I feel so strange. I don't know what to do. I gathered myself together, and then the next day I went to a little cafe, and I had just started working with a coach for the first time. And I remember he asked the question, or someone asked the question, what would you do if you had no fear? And so I decided to just, in this sort of meditative state, write that down on my journal. What would you do if you had no fear? And just spontaneously let the answer come out. And I wrote, I would quit school and go on a soul journey, Bardo. And I was like, okay, wow, what does that really mean? And so the first thing that came to mind was, am I going to travel to India? Am I going to take like this spiritual, physical journey? And then I tuned in a bit more, and Bardo is a Buddhist concept of the period in between death in this life and rebirth in the next. It's an in-between liminal period where the soul is traveling until it finds its next reincarnation. And so I said, why don't I do this rebirthing process while I'm still alive, and I don't have to go travel anywhere, but I'm just gonna, for the first time, really let myself die to the old, like just let it go, pretend like I have no idea who I am, forget about all the identities I've placed on myself, and just open up to maybe other things that I want to do. And so once I opened up that question, I began to have a lot of new experiences that started to step by step lead me forward, to where I am now.
Wow. It's amazing what happens when you open up your heart, open up your soul to other possibilities. It sounds to me like you stepped into literally the new you, this rebirth. And what a beautiful space to be in.
Yeah.
Now, what is the biggest thing about Buddhism that has attracted you?
That's a great question. Wow. Well, I was exposed to Buddhism from a young age, around age 6, 7. My dad started going to a meditation center in Queens, New York. So I kind of just stepped into that place, and there were all these Taiwanese Buddhist students of the teacher. He was teaching meditation, holding kind of traditional Chinese Buddhist ceremonies. So I remember the energy, the feeling there was very meditative. It was like all about calming the mind, just calming the mind, calming the emotions. And there was a spiritual energy there that's just something out of time, something not in the mundane world of hustle bustle, working. Like it was just this bigger energy. So I remember feeling that when I was younger and resonating with it. Like it just felt good, and it felt familiar to me. So I was exposed a little bit to that environment, the Buddhist environment of kind of like peaceful presence and kind of like looking at the bigger picture beyond just the physical world. And then it wasn't until I was 18 that I found myself in a Buddhism class in college. And that's when I started actually learning more concretely the teachings of the Buddha. And again, I felt at home. I was like, oh, wow, this feels good. So to answer your question, what is it that drew me in? I think it was that there was a framework for finding peace within myself in a world that seems so unpeaceful sometimes, seems so chaotic and filled with suffering. It was like there was a pathway and a philosophy that made sense to me, that helped me just navigate the world. I would say most of all, a sense of peace moving through the teachings that I didn't find anywhere else that I was looking.
Wow. Wow. At a time like this where the world is in a bit of turmoil, this war in Ukraine, I was reading somewhere the other day that for there to be peace in the world, it has to start with each and every one of us, that peace begins with me, that we need to be centered within ourselves to be able to experience that, to have a ripple effect that goes out into the world.
Yes.
So what is your daily practice to keep yourself centered in peace?
Mm-hmm. It's finding moments of meditation. And for me, the meditation is for even just a few moments, to kind of drop the thinking mind, like to not have the thoughts be dominant. And thoughts are usually concerned with sense of self, like what am I gaining? What am I losing? It's concerned with time, the past, the future. And so for me, the meditation is for a moment just popping out of that very I-oriented way of being to a more open space that can kind of feel more the connection, among all things, all elements of nature, the animals, the trees, and then other people too, to take other people as not separate from myself. So for me, meditation is finding time to cultivate the practice of taking the center of focus off of the small I, the I, like this personality that I've constructed, and just expand beyond that. And I find that when I expand that way, a lot of the little problems and concerns kind of melt away. So my practice is to not lose touch with this wider
melt
awareness.
Away. Yeah. That's really interesting, and such a blessing to hear that, like I said, at this time in our lives when it just feels like chaos right now.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like the world is in a bit of a turmoil. So what is your take on this pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother used to say that when catastrophic events like this happen, there's something that humanity is supposed to be learning.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah.
What do you think the lesson is for all of us in what is going on in the world?
I feel it's to look at what in us is being touched by it, whether it's a heart opening, and it's a calling forth, or whether it's a pain, like maybe we've held on to a resentment from our past, and something in what we're seeing feels unfair or feels not right. So to me, it's kind of to depersonalize, more personalize, actually, not look at it as something that we can all agree upon, like this is what's happening. Same with, war breaking out. Like not to say we can all agree that this is exactly what's happening, because we don't actually know what's happening in a way. But what we can know is how is those images on the screen, whether it's about the pandemic or war, how are those images touching me? And that's going to guide us inward to see, okay, what's unresolved in me, or what needs care inside of myself, what needs tending to inside of myself that maybe I haven't thought about until I started seeing these images.
Yes.
And it starts triggering memories. Like I work with people, and sometimes I just worked with someone, had a session with someone whose ancestry is from the Russia, the former Soviet Union. And so for her, it was like these things were triggering memories of, wow, what did my parents go through? What did my grandparents go through? What was it like when I immigrated, you know, from Russia to Israel, you know? And it's like, okay, what is this showing me that what in me wants attention right now? What in me needs some more understanding? So that's kind of the opportunity that I see for all of us now.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Now you moved away from home. You know, you said you grew up in New York and now you're in Hawaii. What was that transition like, this rebirth? Being totally on your own, away from family and friends. Tell me about that journey.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I have a gypsy spirit of sorts. I wonder if it's ever, am I going to stay in Hawaii? But yeah, the first place I moved was Taiwan to do the dissertation research on Buddhism and Buddhist deathbed practices. And I spent 2 years there. And then I spent 3 years in Israel, which is actually where a lot of the rebirthing process was happening for me. Because I met a man in Taiwan who was from Israel, and we fell in love. And then, you know, I just found myself in Israel for a little over 3 years. So that journey, I like being exposed to different people and to different culture and to different ways of being. And I remember when I arrived in Israel, actually another war kind of broke out, and I experienced what it's like to kind of be in a place where there's missiles like flying, and then there's the defense system shooting them down in the air. There's the sirens, you know, going to tell people to take cover. And that was totally new for me. So I think that I just have a curious spirit, you know, that I
curious
like
nature.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So where do you see yourself 5, 6, 10 years from now?
Yeah. Well, I feel that I would like this, I would like to have a home base, you know, and the feeling that I have on this island and what I've been learning about just being closer to nature and how to grow food and how to feed myself, and just a sense of resourcefulness that I didn't learn growing up in a city. Where, like, you know, the water goes on, the lights go on, you know, it just goes, the food is in our grocery store, you know. So I'm kind of like coming back to a different way where we can get the lighting from the solar panels, you know, capture the energy of the sun. Our water comes from the rain, you know, that's being caught in the tank, and food's coming from the earth. And that's like a total new thing for me, you know.
Can you imagine?
So, yeah, I feel like the next few years will be this kind of relearning how to live more in harmony with the earth and to know the source more of where things come from.
Oh, how incredible is that? What a blessing, though.
Yeah, I feel really blessed.
That is a real blessing that you're in this space where you're touching the earth, you're growing your food, you're harnessing the water.
Yeah. And I'm just a baby at it. Like, I'm more just watching people grow their food right now. But soon, you know, I want to get my hands in there, but I'm just, you know, soaking it in.
Yeah. Oh, that is just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So is there anything I should have asked you? I always ask this question because I meet so many fascinating people. And sometimes there's a nugget of wisdom that I didn't pull out of that person. Is there anything else you would like to share with our community?
Yeah, I think I would like to share maybe like a word of encouragement to anyone who maybe feels like they want to like step out of a familiar way of being. And I think the encouragement would come from kind of recognizing that this life is fleeting. You know, we don't know when it's going to end. And there's nothing to lose by following your heart, by following something that's pulling you forward. And to maybe use meditation as a tool to release the fear that comes when we are overly identified with, you know, me, you know, just me and how I can gain, how I might lose, like how to protect, how to defend, you know, just loosen that all up. Let the fear not be so dominant, you know, and then that can give the courage to take a step forward, to take a leap of faith, you know, and step into the unknown.
And stepping into the unknown is not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate you coming online and sharing these nuggets of wisdom with us today. I really look forward to staying in touch with you and finding out how you're doing and coming to Hawaii one of these days to actually meet you in person.
Yes, I would love that. Yes.
Now that I know you're there.
Right now.
It's on my bucket list of places to go.
Amazing.
But thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. Her Story movement is on a mission to connect 1,000 women in the month of March. When I started on the 1st, I was only aiming for 300 women. And then we got a major sponsor who came in yesterday, who's going to facilitate and allow me to curate 1,000 stories. And out of the 1,000 stories, we're going to pick 100 women who get to come to New Zealand and Australia next year. At the end of the year in December. So if you are one of those women, go onto our website, herstorycircle.com. Please register to speak. And we are going to have you back. Please remember to record the 15-minute presentation and send it to me. And again, pick a completely different topic. Keep us inspired. If you have any meditation processes that you do, you could open up your presentation with something very spiritually grounding, because I'm trying to bring more women who have different ways of living to the platform. Because what you're doing is very, very pivotal in bringing about peace in the world. I do strongly believe that you are part of the solution we are all seeking. So thank you for focusing on you and reminding us that we need to focus on ourselves as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. I'll be back again tomorrow with yet another amazing guest. Have a fantastic time. Bye for now. Thank you so much again for the interview.
Totally. Thank you.
All right. What a beautiful end to our days. Again.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We are all talking about peace in different ways. I love the stillness of this young woman. You can feel it exudes in her whole way of being. And it's a real lesson to all of us. Some of us are running around like headless chickens all the time, doing this and doing that.
Yeah. And we have to be reminded that we just can't function like that indefinitely.
No, it catches up with you. It really
does.
It
really does.
So that was beautiful. Oh my gosh. So I am looking forward to catching up with you again tomorrow.
Okay. I will come on a little bit before 4. Okay. I will be walking at 4:30, but I will have my headsets on and I will have a picture up probably.
That's fine, Terry, so long as you're there with me in spirit. And let's just say thank you to everybody who tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is a movement that is looking for inspiring women to share, uplift, inspire with the power of your story. So come back again tomorrow. We'll be back with another lineup of amazing stories to share. Thanks so much, Terry. Bye for now, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.